multiple Penguins updates, including a young German forward the Penguins are reportedly targeting. We have news regarding young defenseman P.O. Joseph and Erik Karlsson, who has been the talk of the town for quite some time, as well as a defenseman that the Penguins just signed yesterday, a young player, a two-way defenseman that could really go a long way to helping us in the future. So we have a lot to cover on today's episode of Penguins Digest, and I'm so excited to be talking about it with you guys here today. Before we get into it, please subscribe to the channel. 75% of you have not yet subscribed to the channel, so 1 in 4 of you have subscribed that are watching the video. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want the latest Pittsburgh Penguins content daily. We got news, rumors, analysis, updates, everything here on Penguins Digest, everything you would need as a Penguins fan. So let's go Pens, and let's continue to break down every move that Kyle Dubas and this team makes leading up to the trade deadline this Friday. So, P.O. Joseph, that is the first order of business here today. Joseph has struggled in his tenure here, his second dip in the water with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not great. Not great at all. And now it gets worse. He was placed on injured reserve by the Penguins after an injury sustained against the Boston Bruins. So P.O. Joseph on injured reserve. The Penguins had to do this because P.O. Joseph sustained an upper body injury. The move to the IR is retroactive to Saturday. Regular injured reserve is only 7 days, so he'll miss at least the next 2 games against the Avalanche tonight in Colorado, and then we play Vegas on Friday in Vegas. 2 West Coast games. If you guys are staying up for those, comment on the video, and I'll be here. We can have a conversation during the games, absolutely. And then as you can see, that last note from Taylor Haas with this update, regular injured reserve opens up a roster spot and provides no cap relief. No subsequent move was made, and that brings the Penguins to 22 players on the roster against the 23-man limit. The 23-man limit goes away after Friday's trade deadline. So a lot of things happening leading up to the trade deadline. P.O. Joseph placed on injured reserve, and here are all the moves the Penguins made recently. Joseph placed on IR. Finn Harding, who we're going to talk about in just a second, signed to a 3-year entry-level contract. And, of course, Yoel Blomqvist sent down to the AHL. And Tristan Jarry called back up to the big club, which we talked about in last video, so we're not going to talk about it in this video. So P.O. Joseph is a very interesting topic because he has been a tale of 2 players. The first time we had P.O. Joseph on this roster years ago, I was very impressed with this guy. And when we got him back from the St. Louis Blues, I was like, you know what, Kyle Dubas, you're cooking. You're cooking. Let's let you cook. Well, guess what? P.O. Joseph has not been the same player. He has struggled mightily, and that is probably why the Blues decided to trade him away, because he's the exact same player in Pittsburgh as he was with the Blues, and it's not a good player either. It's been a really difficult thing to watch P.O. Joseph, knowing what he can be, knowing what his potential is, and seeing him struggle this mightily for the Penguins. He had 3 assists in 1 game in his last tenure with the Penguins. He only has 3 assists this entire season in 47 games. And my argument for the longest time was, okay, it's a small sample size. Well, guess what, guys? It's no longer a small sample size. P.O. Joseph has been around for a minute now, and he has done absolutely nothing to help this team. Every time he is out there, he looks like a deer that can't skate. The same comparison that a lot of people used to make for Marcus Pettersson, which was not accurate. But for P.O. Joseph, it is accurate. This guy looks like he doesn't know how to skate half the time. He doesn't look up to speed for his reach, for his stride. He should be able to keep up with plays, but he's always behind the play. He's always out of position. It's just constant adversity being faced for P.O. Joseph, and it's hard to watch. It's very hard to watch. He's been easily one of our worst defensemen this season, and I don't want that. I want P.O. to be an impact player. I have confidence in this guy that he can be a good player. He just has not shown it with the Penguins, and him being placed on IR, I hate to say this, but we're not going to really miss him that much in the lineup. He has to take a lot of steps forward if he wants to become an everyday defenseman for this Pittsburgh Penguins team, especially as bad as our defense is. And this move right here could go a long way to helping that defense. Finn Harding, a player that we drafted in the 7th round, and now we have signed Finn Harding to a 3-year entry-level contract. This is a big move by the Penguins. Big under-the-radar, underrated move by Kyle Dubas, because Finn Harding is a guy. Finn Harding is actually a really solid player, and I've heard a lot of good things about him from a lot of people that have seen him play before, but he does sign his entry-level deal with the Penguins, which they had the rights to him because they drafted him, so this is just kind of a formality at this point. They decided to sign Finn Harding, make him a member of this team. It's going to be a while before we see him in the NHL, but the dude is really good, and I'm excited that he is part of our team. He's 20 years old, spent the 24-25 season as an alternate captain for the Brampton Steelheads of the Ontario Hockey League. Through 59 games, the 6'2", 192-pound defenseman posted 7 goals, 48 assists, and a career-high 55 points. Harding's 48 assists are a single-season franchise record among Steelheads defensemen, and his assist and point totals both rank 5th across the entire league among defensemen. Additionally, his plus 43 is currently 9th in the league across all players and 3rd among blue liners. The Toronto, Ontario native has played 190 games for the Steelheads, and over the course of 3 seasons from 22 to 25, during that span, he scored 19 goals, 80 assists, 99 points, and a plus 90. He has 1 goal and 2 assists and 3 points in 11 playoff games for the Steelheads. And as you see at the bottom, he was drafted by the Penguins in the 7th round, 223rd overall in 2024. So welcome to the squad, Finn Harding. And I'm going to show you guys his draft profile here from Elite Prospects. And this is obviously what Finn Harding is about. If you look at the bottom, he is not only aggressive with his gap, he mirrors framework, forces players to the boards, and is difficult to beat down the wall and inside. He let his opponents skate into his range before poking away possession, establishes the false gap before pivoting and closing for the steal, gets inside the hands, wins positioning, then has the skill to evade pressure. So Finn Harding, a very good all-around defenseman. I have heard that he is a two-way defenseman, and his plus-minus rating and that description from Elite Prospects tells me that he absolutely is a two-way defenseman, which is what the Penguins need. I'm tired of these offensive defensemen, i.e. Erik Karlsson. I'm tired of these defensive defensemen, i.e. Ryan Graves. We need two-way defensemen, i.e. Kris Letang. Kris Letang's got some juice left. Trust me, he's got some juice left. The problem on our defensive end has been P.O. Joseph, who's injured now. Ryan Graves, no, not commenting on Ryan Graves, and Erik Karlsson, who we're going to talk about next. Erik Karlsson has been the talk of the town for the Penguins, and something absolutely caught me off guard yesterday. I was looking in at different players available at the trade deadline, the top 25 players available at this trade deadline, because the trade deadline is in just a few days, ladies and gentlemen. So I was trying to figure out what Penguins players are getting the most buzz. So I found this article, and this was the Real Kuiper's trade board, 25 names to watch as the deadline week begins, according to Nick Kipios. And this is what he came up with. This is the list, okay? That's the list. Mikko Rantanen, Brad Marchand. You got Erik Karlsson, Brock Besser, Dylan Cousins, Bowen Byram, Alex Tuch, Jordan Binnington, Braden Shen, Colton Parayko, Brock Nelson, Riley Smith, Casey Middlestat, Trevor Zegras, John Gibson, Ryan Donato, Mario Ferraro, Rasmus Ristolainen, Scott Lawton, Brandon Tanev, Yanni Gourde, Lawson Krause, Jack Evans, Carson Soucy, and Trent Frederick. The only Penguin listed on that board is Erik Karlsson. We are one of a few teams that are 100% sellers at the deadline, and there's one Penguin on that list. You're telling me Rickard Rakell's not on the list? All that ESPN's been talking about is Rickard Rakell. You're telling me, Anthony Beauvillier's not on that list? Matt Grzelcyk's not on the list? Like, what? Whoa. Like, what? Excuse me. I was literally just telling you guys the other day about Blake Lizotte being a trade piece as well. All of these players we have that other teams are interested in, and now all of a sudden we're not getting any recognition here. We're not getting listed on the top 25 players to watch leading up to the trade deadline. There should be at least 5 Penguins players on there. Am I a little biased? Maybe. I don't know. But we have one player on there, and his name is Erik Karlsson. And it's nothing we didn't already know. Erik Karlsson has been a mad disappointment for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's an offensive defenseman. I've defended him forever. I will not defend him anymore. I don't want him on my team anymore. I'm done defending Erik Karlsson. It's over. The experiment failed. I love Dubas for making that move. It could have set us over the top. It really could. If Karlsson wanted to play like a Norris Trophy winner like he used to be, but he is not that anymore. And teams are interested. I thought the Florida Panthers would be a really good fit. They went and got Seth Jones. And here's why I think Karlsson can be traded. Teams are desperate. Very desperate. Leading up to the trade deadline. If the Panthers are willing to trade a first-round pick and Spencer Knight For Seth Jones and a 4th rounder? Are you kidding me? I think we can get something nice for Erik Karlsson. I think we can get a haul for Erik Karlsson. I'm ready to trade this guy right now if we can get anything close to that, even if we have to retain like $2.5 million. I don't care. Let's take the deal. Let's do it. I mean, come on, guys. This is what we've been waiting for. Trading Erik Karlsson, getting more back than what we gave up to get him in the first place, would be a perfect storm for Kyle Dubas. And he would continue to have a job. I mean, like I said, Kyle Dubas has been great. Kyle Dubas has done a lot of good things, a lot of bad things, but a lot of good things as well. Finn Harding, good signing. I like that. I like the idea of trading Erik Karlsson as well. And Kyle Dubas is open to that idea. He just needs a team to bite. And hey, the Panthers are no longer a team that's going to bite, but there are other teams out there that could go get Erik Karlsson. And all of this started whenever he started playing well in the Four Nations faceoff. So I'm not putting it past Kyle Dubas to trade Erik Karlsson. If the deal presents itself, the right deal presents itself, then Kyle Dubas will make the trade. He will pull the trigger and get rid of Erik Karlsson, saving all of us from watching him anymore, because it is painful at times. As we get into our final topic today, a wild card topic that if you stayed this long in the video, you deserve to hear about. JJ Peterka. And this guy is special. He is a German winger. He is on the Buffalo Sabres currently. He scored 28 goals last season. This guy is an absolute stud. JJ Peterka. Remember the name because he is a Penguin. I'm telling you that right now. If he's not traded for at the trade deadline, I think eventually he's a Penguin because he has it written all over him. JJ Peterka is my guy. I've always been a fan of him. I'm excited if he comes to Pittsburgh. I would love it. I hope we get him. I really, really, really hope we bring in JJ Peterka because he could be that guy. And everybody's going to say, wait, why are we acquiring players? Why would we buy anybody before the trade deadline? We're terrible. Yes, we're terrible. But if you have a proven player like JJ Peterka out there that's 23 years old and the Sabres are willing to be dumb enough to trade him away, you have to pull the trigger. You're going to find a way to bring this guy in. And I think that Kyle Dubas has already been calling about JJ Peterka according to these reports, because the Sabres and the Penguins could be ideal trade partners according to Sports Illustrated before this trade deadline. Pittsburgh's season-long plan has been to acquire young, under-team controlled players who need a fresh start. They've already added players like P.O. Joseph, Cody Glass, Philip Tomasino. Most of those have worked out on this roster. But think about Sabres forward JJ Peterka. According to NHL insider Elliotte Friedman, the Pens would love to add the scoring winger. And we've talked about this in recent videos, and not recent, but a while ago, we talked about Cousins, we talked about Byram, we talked about the possibility of trading with the Buffalo Sabres, but Peterka is the gem. He is the guy. He is the one, the diamond in the rough that you can just pluck out of that terrible team and make your team that much better. JJ Peterka is the real deal. He's got the size, he's got the skill, he's got the contract, team control. He's young. He can develop. I would love him playing alongside Gino. He kind of reminds me of Gino in some ways. I'm a big fan of this kid. I've heard Pittsburgh has asked about Buffalo's young players. Like Peterka, that's a big price if it ever happens, but that guy's got Pittsburgh written all over him. Elliotte Friedman agrees with me. Peterka would be a welcomed addition to the Pittsburgh Penguins lineup. The 23-year-old German winger has been a rock-solid forward since making his NHL debut. Last season was a breakout offensive campaign, scoring 28 goals in 82 games, which I also mentioned earlier. And the last aspect of this is the Sabres. Question is whether they are willing to move Peterka. The Sabres are on the verge of missing the playoffs for the 14th straight season. They're nowhere close to being a playoff team. Their organization is stuck in limbo despite having plenty of talent on the roster and developing. Moving on from the 23-year-old winger isn't exactly what winning teams do, but a fresh start for Peterka might be the best thing for the player and the Sabres. If so, hear me out here. The Penguins are the team to watch in the final days before the NHL trade deadline. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video today, taking the time out of your busy day to listen to me ramble about our Pittsburgh Penguins, but there's so much going on. We will have plenty more videos coming out before the trade deadline, and as of right now, we're planning on doing a live stream Friday for the trade deadline. I will keep you guys updated on the news regarding that. Hopefully we get to do that because I would love to talk to y'all during the trade deadline, leading up to the final buzzer as Kyle Dubas is ready to reshake this roster up like he has been since he got here. Maybe the right moves are finally going to be made to help the Penguins get back on track, trading pieces that we are not going to have on the team next year for assets, prospects, draft picks, whatever those assets are. I would love to see us get JJ Peterka. I don't know how much we have to give up to get him. I would love to see us trade Erik Karlsson. I don't know how much we're going to get for him. A lot of fun things. A lot of cool stuff happening. A lot yet to discuss here on Penguins Digest. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you on the next episode of Penguins Digest.